The silence that followed the war was heavier than the thunder that had ended it. For the first time in 2 years, Earth was quiet. No hum of Ofix ships in the sky. No endless alarms from orbital defenses. Just wind, gentle, untainted, real wind sweeping across the blackened plains of what used to be Denver. Captain Mara Vance stood at the heart of the ruins, her visor retracted, the silver-blue light of the dawn washing across her face. Around her, the remnants of the human resistance, no more than a few thousand souls, were gathering. They were scarred, broken, and starving, but alive. And for the first time in living memory, the sky was clear. The energy core that once pulsed beneath the Earth's crust had gone dormant. The Ofix network, a lattice of alien technology that had drained the planet's magnetic field, was gone. It had been severed when Mara activated the Guardian Protocol, the final act that fused Kale's consciousness into the planetary grid. Kale, half man, half machine, and once the enemy, had given his life to undo what his creators had done. Now, his voice was gone. Only a faint hum remained deep below, a rhythm like a heartbeat in the soil. Mara didn't know if it was the Earth or Kale, maybe both. 2 weeks passed before the Council of Survivors called her back to the command dome, a massive structure rebuilt from the wreckage of an Ofix battleship. The dome shimmered faintly under the weak sun, its glass walls etched with cracks that glittered like stars. Lieutenant Holt was already inside, bent over a digital projection of the planet. Tiny blue lights flickered where human outposts had been reactivated. 72% of surface comms restored, Holt reported, his voice tired but hopeful. Radiation zones are still spreading in the equatorial belt, but northern biospheres are stable. We might actually pull through. Mara walked up beside him, her eyes tracing the map. And the lunar base. Holt paused, still silent. Whatever was left up there, it's gone. She nodded slowly. The moon had been where everything began, and ended. Kale's stronghold, the place where the Ofix invasion had first rooted itself into humanity's bones. Now, it was dust. That night, Mara climbed the ridge above the dome, where a lone metal beacon still blinked against the stars. She remembered when there were thousands of them, defense towers, satellite relays, orbital cannons. Now there was just one, standing defiant like a tombstone against the void. She sat beside it, setting down her old rifle, now more memory than weapon. A gust of cold wind brushed her hair as she looked up at the night sky. The constellations were brighter than ever. For centuries, humanity had gazed up wondering if someone was out there. Now they knew. They had met them, fought them, learned from them, and survived them. Mara. Holt's voice came through her earpiece, soft but steady. We're picking up faint activity beneath the crust. Low frequency, like the old Ofix resonance, but weaker. She froze. Is it spreading? No, Holt said. It's pulsing, like a pattern, almost like Morse code. Mara's heart kicked once, hard, patch it through. Static filled her ear, then faint, rhythmic tones. Short, long, long, short. She closed her eyes, translating it instinctively. Still here. Kale. The message repeated twice before fading. Mara exhaled slowly, her eyes burning. For so long, she had thought she'd lost him entirely, the strange, tragic hybrid who had defied both species to save Earth. But maybe his consciousness had survived, merged with the planet's electromagnetic core. Maybe the Guardian wasn't gone. Maybe he was the Earth now. Weeks turned into months. The survivors rebuilt, settlement by settlement. Forests began to regrow across irradiated lands. The seas, once blackened by orbital strikes, slowly turned blue again. The Ofix technology, once a symbol of annihilation, became humanity's greatest resource. Using fragments of Kale's data, they learned to harness zero-point energy safely. Energy that didn't destroy, but healed, Children born in the new world would never know the sky filled with warships. They would see clouds, sunlight, and auroras painted by the rebirth of the planet's magnetic field. And through it all, Mara stayed on the surface, not as a soldier anymore, but as a sentinel. Each morning, she climbed the ridge. Each dawn, the hum beneath her feet whispered through the ground. And sometimes, when she closed her eyes, she swore she could hear a familiar voice in the wind. "Protect them, Mara. The world is yours now." But peace, even after victory, is fragile. 3 years later, deep space sensors detected something at the edge of the solar system, a faint disturbance beyond Pluto. Not a ship, not a signal, a void, a gravitational wound, slowly expanding. Holt brought the report to her in person, his face pale. "Looks like a rift," he said quietly. "Same energy readings we saw when the Ophix first arrived." Mara took the datapad and stared at the dark, swirling image. The readings were faint, but growing. Her heart sank. It seemed the universe wasn't done testing them. "Get the command back online," she said, setting the pad down. "We'll need every scanner and every satellite we have left." Holt frowned. "You think it's them again?" She shook her head. "No, I think it's something worse." Then she turned to the horizon, to the rising sun cresting over the ashes of the old world. Her eyes narrowed with determination. Her hand tightened on her rifle. The age of Earth's last warriors was not over. It was only changing. Sunrise Epilogue. The Guardian returns. In the heart of the planet, where molten rivers pulsed and ancient circuits glowed, a consciousness stirred. Kale's voice, faint, echoing through the layers of the earth, whispered not in words, but in resonance. He could feel the pulse of the new world, the rebirth he had sacrificed everything for. And far away, in the void between stars, something vast and cold began to turn its gaze toward the tiny blue world that refused to die. The war was over, but the story of humanity had just begun.